thought you good for nothing, motherfuckers. You ready to enter the fear effect?
No wonder you Oriental girls skinny.
I just got done playing one of the craziest PlayStation games I think I've ever seen, and I'm definitely feeling the fear effect from it because I never want to touch it again. Let's talk about it, baby. This is Fear Effect 2, and if you're not familiar with the first game or you haven't seen my video on it, I'll get you up to speed on it.
What are you yakking about now?
Fear Effect is basically an action, adventure, / survival horror type of game that plays from a fixed camera perspective. So as you're moving from room to room or you're moving your character around, the camera itself doesn't move. This is controlled by the tank style controls that were popularized in the classic Resident Evil games. It actually plays a lot like a classic Resident Evil game. Everything from the persistent puzzles throughout the game to the gunplay to the combat and the health meter in the corner of your screen, it's very reminiscent of a Resident Evil title.
Hey beautiful, haven't I seen you somewhere before?
However, there are quite a few technical and mechanical differences about this game that make it unique.
Your days of bribing public officials are over, thanks to the Fixer.
The main difference is that in Fear Effect, when it comes down to inventory management and saving your game, you do it all in real time, as to where in Resident Evil, you pause the game by accessing an inventory menu where you'd move things around, reload your guns. But in Fear Effect, you have a one single item option and you just scroll through that till you get the thing that you need. In a way, this is immersive because the game is constantly running as you're doing things, but it's also a pain in the ass when you're constantly selecting things that you don't need, as experienced in the first game. Not the towel. Oh. Fear Effect also mixes up the gameplay variety a little bit. You got some tactical espionage action where you might be sneaking through a laboratory doing some stealth, or you might be fighting your way through an area guns blazing to get to an exit point, or you might be doing a boss battle, memorizing some patterns, you know, boss battle stuff. And I hope you like puzzles because you're going to be doing a lot of them in this game. Every time you're going from level to level or objective to objective, you're doing that by completing some sort of puzzle to open up a door, move on and progress to the next area, access a computer terminal.
Take that, you piece of shit.
Fear Effect's biggest strong suit is its art style, and that carries over into the technical side of things where it really starts to differentiate itself from a classic Resident Evil title. In a classic Resident Evil title, you're moving your character around on a pre-rendered background. So while your character is drawn up and rendered in 3D, the actual background of the level that you're playing in is just an image. And in Fear Effect, it does a similar thing. Your character is a 3D model, and so are the enemies, and this is why when you upscale the game on a modern emulator, your character might look nice and sharp, but the background visuals and everything else looks blurry and pixelated. I can barely see him right now. But the difference about the backgrounds in Fear Effect is that it's using FMV, or full motion video. This basically just means that your character is moving around on top of a pre-rendered video. And while this gameplay style of moving your character around from a fixed camera angle on a pre-rendered background or video is something that you would never see in a modern game today outside of maybe some creative indie stuff, this was a pretty interesting technical creative move at the time of this game coming out. This would allow them to fill a scene with more lighting elements and detailed creative environments than what you would traditionally see from a fully 3D rendered game at the time. That's why if you were like me as a kid growing up and you were starting to think back on the classic Resident Evil titles, wondering how they looked so much better graphically than other games at the time, that was thanks to the pre-rendered backgrounds mostly.
And here's a clue for you, buddy. My eyes are up here.
She likes me.
I think the game takes place in 2077 or something, you know, like the cyberpunk dystopian future. That's kind of what this game was going for. It's pretty cool. When it comes down to the story, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I didn't realize until like halfway through the game that this is actually a prequel? Yeah.
Fire in the hole.
So it's kind of like a choose what game you want to play first type of adventure deal, you know? Oh, what's up, dude? What you doing in here? You're derailing the video, but that's okay, because you're a cat. Look at a cat, everybody. This leads to some interesting decisions that were made with the story that we'll absolutely talk about. There's some juicy stuff to get into, but you're gonna get to play as all of the original anti-heroes that you came to love from the first game. You got
Probably end up being chased by dragons or some shit like that.
Hana, Gloss, Deke. You got Hana's love interest, which is a new character to the story. And it's all tied together in one of those convenient tropes. You know, you're going on all these heist missions, and then you go on this one mission that everybody just kind of conveniently went on together. And now, against your better will, you gotta work together to get out of the situation that you're put in.
A psychotic dying of ends, a drunk and a whore. Interesting choice.
But yeah, the gang's all here, and I guess this game is supposed to kind of serve as like their origin story in a way. Name's Deke, my mates call me Deke. Name's Royce, but my dad used to call me Glass because I was such a little bitch. My name's Hana, and I'm not here to mess around. By the way, I'm thinking about shooting Deke right there in the face. One way this game really holds up is in its cutscenes that I could definitely see being on like a Netflix series or a movie or something.
Family reunion? I see the resemblance.
Uncle Bob, meet Hannah.
I'll get the ones up here. The rest are yours.
Damn.
A lot of games from this era don't really hold up so well in terms of character models and animation, but this one looks really good. There's tons of detail in their facial expressions, and it's just a pleasing thing to look at. It's going for kind of that cel-shaded style, which really holds up very well. And in classic Fear Effect fashion, everything kind of seems normal, but starts to get really off the rails as you play the game. You start coming across these different artifacts. As fate would have it, all three of your characters kind of come together and they all have their own artifacts that kind of work together in their own way.
Some kind of genetic marker.
I got this complex DNA sequence that doesn't do much by itself.
Blood sample, same deal.
The game's not too subtle about it. I mean, there's kind of like some scientific experimentation and stuff, but it very quickly goes from normal heist mission to zombies and shit, but I like it. That's kind of like the quality and the charm of Fear Effect. In the first game, you were kind of getting split up as a team and you were fighting through different areas as different characters, and that was cool. In Fear Effect 2, you're kind of just playing from different starting points and you kind of all meet together, so it's kind of an interesting take from that angle.
The name is Hannah, not Love or Doll.
No need to piss on me.
And a cool thing about Fear Effect is there's actually different endings depending on how you play in the game. I think this really just is affected later into the end of the game, and there's only a few different options that matter. But it's a big step up from the first game where you had to go out of your way to start the game in hard mode and know that you had to do that and play through it to get the good ending.
There is no correct choice.
Fear Effect 2 does make some strides to improve on its predecessor, and one way it does that is in the load time. The biggest issue that I can remember from the first game was that when you died, you had to sit through this like 30-second loading screen. And this was a problem for two reasons. One, because the game put an insane amount of cheap deaths in the game. You would load into a new area and you'd have like a split second to make a decision before getting a game over screen. And after getting that game over screen, you'd have to sit there for like 30-40 seconds waiting for the game to load again. And the other element to it is that your save points are only in certain areas of the level. Man, this place really has some shitty cell phone reception. So if you were only able to save your game like 20 minutes prior to this little split-second decision action happening, you would have to fight your way all the way back up to that point to do it over again. And while Fear Effect 2 does have some of those inconvenient save points where if you die, you have to reset and redo like 30 minutes of work, and that does suck, they have eliminated those load times after you die completely. So if you end up getting a game over screen and you go to reload your game, it just immediately pops you back into the action, which is awesome. That is a huge clutch saving grace at this game. They actually advertise on the back of the box here that they stream the gameplay and cinematics seamlessly and they eliminate the load times, but obviously you got 4 discs in here for all the pre-rendered background stuff. It's a pretty chunky boy, so there's definitely going to be some loading, but they did a pretty good job of masking some of that.
Come play with me, get.
When it comes to other improvements that they've made in Fear Effect 2, that's pretty much it. There's quite a few things that this game does worse than its predecessor. I was a huge fan of the characters in the first game. Sure, the gameplay's pretty dated, not the most fun gameplay. I hated the puzzles because I'm dumb and I'm not good at puzzles, but the characters hooked me. They were all so unique with their own distinctive personalities, and they were fun and they were quirky. And my phone's going off, and hopefully that didn't show up in the mic quality, even though I'm talking about it now and derailing the whole video. And Fear Effect 2 isn't like a complete origin story of all the characters, right? But it's supposed to kind of be a story about how they all came together, how they all became friends, how they all worked together to get to the point that they're at in the first game. But yeah, we're doing it for the fucking money, baby, shit. That's right, love. We're gonna make a lot of money off of this, and just like I made a lot of money back home when I was betting on the kangaroo fights. So why do they spend a significant portion of the game elaborating on a character that doesn't even show up in the first game at all?
We are not doing anything. This time, you are definitely staying home. But no buts.
So Hana has a love interest, and this is a character that you play as quite a bit in the beginning of the game. But then for the second half of the game, when the other characters start getting introduced, you never see her again except for in a few cutscenes. And then they have this whole explanation of there's two of her, and there's a bad one and a good one, and blah, blah, fucking blah. They spent a good portion of the game building up this other character, and then she doesn't even come into play until the end of the game. Now, you need to shoot him. Don't shoot him. He's the fake one. That's the fake one. If I was the fake one, could I do this? Obviously, I'm the real one. You don't want to shoot. You need to shoot him in the face first before me. Shoot him. But oh yeah, dude, it's real hard to put a gun in your mouth and pretend like you're the real one. No. Oh, I was actually the fake one. But also, the game is supposed to be about the main characters that you play as in the first game. And in the first game, they had some touchy subjects and some interesting topics, like with Hana being a sex worker before she got into the heist thing.
So, was it worth dying for?
They don't really touch on any of that in the second game, which is fine, but that's replaced with her love interest, which again, only plays through like half of the game. So that leaves the other two characters, Deke and Gloss. And I thought Gloss's performance was great. He's probably my favorite character of the second game. He's quirky, he's funny, he's just kind of over it by the end of the game, and his feelings were kind of mine by the end of the game. Like, I'm ready for this fucking game to end. Can we get it over with?
I am Chang Kulao.
Yeah, one of the 8 immortals, blah, blah, blah.
But then you have Deke, and that's kind of where it gets interesting, because I found out they actually changed the voice actor for Deke in the second game. Deke is Australian, and in the first game, I didn't realize this for a while, but they actually hired a guy that was just putting on an Australian accent. So you would think, okay, in the second game, they hired a new voice actor. So maybe they hired somebody Australian. Nope.
How the hell do you people eat with these sticks? No wonder you Orientals are all skinny.
Look out for splinters.
Not only did they hire another guy just putting on a fake Australian accent, but they hired a guy putting on a fake Australian accent, and he did a fucking horrible job of it.
Who the hell do you work for?
Answer her, damn it.
You need a haircut and a shave, mate.
And look, I'm fine with bad accents, okay? In the first game, his accent was funny. It was like over the top, very obviously stereotypical. It was great.
Now we know why this gin packer brought this deal to you then, Hannah. You got a bleeding inside track. Looks like our odds of getting paid just got better, eh?
In the second game, his accent is just so bad that it's not even funny.
Now that you got your jolly, let's just focus on what's important. And that would be me now. Today.
It's like if you have a friend who's putting on a fake Australian accent for a joke, and it just kind of ran its course, but he keeps going on with it, and it gets to the point where it's just a little awkward, and you're just kind of like, look, mate, the Chinaman told me if I double-crossed you 2 times he'd give me the cure for my disease, so I shot him in the fucking head. And then I ended up here. And you really expect us to believe that story? Nah, of course not, but we gotta move the story along, right? When Deke is delivering his lines in the second game, it's like halfway through, he just kind of gives up and the accent just completely drops and it sounds so unmotivated and tacky.
You've mistaken me for someone who gives a flying hoot what you believe, mate.
Also, outside of the voice acting, I just don't like Deke as a character in the second game.
Any chance you've seen the tomb beneath us? It's got 2 nice spots waiting to be filled. Sorry it has to end this way, doll.
I don't really remember him being a vicious, cold-blooded killer driven by money and murder. In the first game, he's very tongue-in-cheek. He's got these funny, witty quips that he comes up with. He's a very interesting character. And in the second game, they introduce him as being this brawny badass, and at first, it's pretty cool. It starts to not be so cool when he just starts becoming a total asshole and he never drops the act.
On my way out, I got jumped. When I woke up, you people were all over me.
The reasoning for this is because everybody's on edge fighting against each other in the beginning, and he's suffering from this game's form of cancer, and they explained that he was being set up and he was overwhelmed and had no idea what was going on, but I still don't prefer this version of him. Through the entire game, he's trying to constantly double-cross the other characters, and also they just kind of throw around him being shot at in this game like it's nothing. I think at some point in the game they kind of elaborate on this idea that Deke is immortal or something, but my problem is that in the first game, if something happened to a character, it was really impactful. Like when Gloss lost his arm in the first game, oopsie, spoiler, he had to carry that with him throughout the entire game, and you felt that, and you were like, whoa, that was a thing that happened. But here they just shoot Deke in the back of the head like 12 times, and it's like whatever, because he's just gonna keep popping up. You just shot him. Oh, damn it, mate, you shot me right in me fucking face. This video is sponsored by the channel members. As you can tell, we're in a new studio. But being able to buy stupid props like these shades and this Nerf gun is due in part to the channel members. If you like extra content in the videos that you didn't get to see in the final product, like green screen videos, or you like extra exclusive content like moving from my old studio into this one, give me a minute. Then become a channel member to check out more. It's only a couple bucks a month and it helps me out a lot. Shout out to these guys. Again, thank you guys for being channel members. I'll see you in the videos. The story had its high points and its low points, and that wouldn't be too much of a problem if the game didn't really overstay its welcome, which unfortunately it kind of did as a result of the gameplay. Because there's some gameplay issues and quirks that of course we gotta talk about. So when it comes to the pacing of the game, there's some sections where it's really good. Like when you first start off as Deke and you're busting your way through the city streets and you're doing these minor puzzle sections to get from area to area. It felt really good and it was satisfying to play and you were constantly getting cutscenes. But there were other elements of the game, especially towards the end of the game, where I was just ready for it to end.
Let's get the hell out of here and get ourselves a beer.
Oh boy, let's talk about the puzzles in the game. Those things got fucking old fast. You see this IDOS hint line on the back of the manual here? And this Fear Effect 2 strategy guide that I conveniently got when I bought the game from eBay. If you were playing this game around the time that it came out, you were probably using these two things a lot. And if you were playing it when you were younger without access to these things, there's a good chance that you probably didn't even beat this game.
What the hell does that mean? I don't speak Chinese.
If I got comments in this video from people saying something along the lines of, oh yeah, I played this game when I was a kid, back when I was younger, and I got to this certain point in the game that I just could not figure out, so I didn't beat it, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. We talked about Bone Lab, and if you thought that game didn't explain things to you, oh my god. Don't play Fear Effect 2. This bad boy right here walked me through the entire game, and if it wasn't for this or playthroughs on YouTube, I would not get past it. And it's got some cool artwork on it. Oh god, what wire do I cut? It must be this one. Let me make it clear that I'm kind of dumb, all right? I am not very good at puzzles in games, but even I know when enough is enough. You wanna know why if you search Fear Effect or Fear Effect 2, the most played videos are playthroughs of the game? Well, that's because you kind of fucking need that to progress because the puzzles get so convoluted that it's damn near impossible to get through them.
Excuse me, miss, this is the men's bathroom.
Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed.
Excuse me, miss, this is the men's restroom. Fuck! Son of a bitch, not again! Let's go back to the classic Resident Evil comparison, alright? So in Resident Evil, when you're trying to do a puzzle, the game usually kind of points out what would obviously go together to complete the puzzle. You need to set a rope on fire, so you need a lighter and you need gasoline. Okay, makes sense. Maybe there's a garage door you need to roll up. Well, the game's gonna tell you there's a slot for a square crank, so you need to find a square crank. Pretty much every puzzle, every step of the way in Fear Effect 2 is so damn convoluted that you're just not gonna figure it out without a walkthrough. Okay, so you're in a laboratory and there's a fuse box on a wall that went out. There's 3 sections in the fuse box and you have to replace them for each room that you gotta go into. Okay, so you go into the room and then you access that computer and then you gotta complete the puzzle, get a blood sample, then you gotta put the blood sample on a disc and then... There's so many moving parts and different pieces that the game doesn't explain that it's mind-numbing. I don't even know how to explain to you how just convoluted this is. You might walk into a room and there's something you need to interact with, and whether it be just because the game didn't really point it out very well or just because the game's just a low-resolution background, you might just completely miss that object in the distance that you were supposed to go up to and interact with.
That's exactly what in hell is going on here, Hannah, and who's that freak in the costume?
I think he's wearing the royal robe of the Emperor.
When it comes to using objects to trigger certain events, like square crank in square hole to roll up a door, Resident Evil, this game just has you fucking put random objects together to make them work. So you're just kind of fumbling through your inventory to find the right object that'll work on this door, and it doesn't really explain what does what. Or it puts objects in your inventory that you hold on to for half the game and you never know what the hell they're for up until you get to this certain point in a puzzle where you need to use them. In my opinion, it's just really badly designed.
Who the hell are you people? And what's with the fellow in the getup over there?
And on the occasion that the game does actually explain how a puzzle works to you, it might be in a cutscene that just flashes by for a few seconds and you're just expected to remember that pattern you saw in a cutscene and apply it to the puzzle. There's a puzzle section in the game where you gotta match this DNA sequence together with different colors and different patterns. And there's a cutscene that shows you what the pattern's kind of supposed to look like, but there's never any notes in your inventory that you can reference to figure out where it goes or what you're supposed to do. And this was before smartphones, so it's not like you could just record the video of the TV to kind of remember what you're supposed to do. If you were playing this back in the day, you were just kind of fucked. Well, no you weren't, because the trusty hotline was there to help you for 99 cents a minute. Yeah, I've been racking my brain around this puzzle for an hour and I just cannot figure it out.
Use your brain, you fucking idiot.
I swear to God, this game feels like it was just manufactured to sell these strategy guides. I don't know if you can look up the sales numbers for strategy guides, but I guarantee you this was probably one of the best-selling strategy guides relative to the game sales. Like this platform right here, dude, that you gotta walk across in a very specific way, and the only way you can kind of tell is by the Chinese characters. How are you supposed to know this? If you played this game before and you have a very simple explanation, please tell me in the comments. Towards the end of Fear Effect 2, you're like climbing this tower where you're doing 8 different challenges from these mystical beings that they give you, where it's a puzzle or it's a challenge.
That was kind of fun. Let's go again.
No.
Sore loser.
And it's like they were just kind of running out of ideas, or they were just trying to pad the games, because they got you doing things like rolling dice against an AI opponent, and it just comes down to you getting a random number higher than the AI. So you're just kind of sitting here mindlessly clicking a button, hoping that you get a higher number over time to beat your way to the end of the finish line before the AI does. And these are the things that really just drug out the game towards the end and kind of made it unfun, and I was just ready for it to be over. Oh yeah, that's the DNA cutscene I was talking about. Yeah, I was feeling a lot like Gloss by the end of this game. There was actually one challenge towards the end of the game that I actually really did enjoy, and it was like a strategy game where you had a board and you had to move soldiers across the board to grab the opponent's flag before they grabbed yours. I had a fun time with that. A lot more fun with that than a lot of the other stuff in the game, unfortunately.
The genomic who?
For some reason, Fear Effect 2 costs more than the first game. I don't know why, but yeah. There's some decent gameplay moments, twice as much TNA, some good art style and fun cutscenes, but ultimately, gameplay's pretty shit.
You draw on me, you better be ready to pay the consequences.
Oh, but I'm always ready.
I'm glad I played it, but I never plan on doing it again. Believe it or not, it was daylight when I first started recording this video. If you want to see more content that didn't make its way into this video, become a channel member and you'll instantly unlock all of that behind the scenes content for this, as well as many other videos, as well as stuff like the deconstruction of my old studio and the move into this one. It's a pretty cool world exclusive perk for the boys and maybe the girls that want to support the content, the 1% of you, AKA my mom and my girlfriend. Yeah. That's about all I got, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. It's been Josh, aka T, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Go watch some other shit. I need more watch time. Oh shit, it actually hit the lens. I was in the middle of a kangaroo fighting tournament and got knocked out, and then my fucking wallet was stolen, and now
I don't speak Chinese.
This I can't do this, dude. Fuck, I hope I got it in the first take.